Are you tired of feeling miserable as a trader? Do you sometimes feel like you're just never going to succeed? Have you ever actually thought about quitting and just giving it all up? If that's you, you have come to the right place, because I have made it my sole mission to help traders just like you overcome the discouragement, the misery, if you will, that comes with trading, and help them put them on a path to being a successful trader. There's a story I love to tell. It goes like this. There's a guy walking down the street and he falls into a hole. And he looks up and he can't get out of the hole, and nobody on the street seems to want to help him. They're all passing by, living their happy, successful lives. And he sees this priest walk by and goes, "Hey, priest, hey, father, can you help me out of this hole?" The priest looks at him and writes him out a prayer and tosses in the hole and keeps on going. And he sees his doctor walk by. Hey, doc, can you help me out of this hole? Doctor writes him out a prescription, throws it down in a bill, throws it down in the hole, and keeps on going. Guy's getting real discouraged at this point. He just wants to give up, stop trying to get out of the hole. Just let all those successful people just go about their lives and just curl up into a ball and give up. But then he sees his buddy Bob walking by, and he finally, out of desperation, Bob, can you help me out of this hole? Well, next thing you know, Bob jumps down in the hole with him. He goes, "Bob, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck in this hole." And Bob says, "Yeah, but I've been in here before. I know the way out." That is me, and that is my mission for you, and that's what we're going to cover in this video. How do you go from trading misery to trading mastery? How do you go from feeling like I am just ready to quit? I'm going to give up. I'm never going to be successful. How do you overcome that discouragement? Doubt and discouragement. I've said it before. Doubt and discouragement are the twin killers of traders. You can blow as many counts as you want to and still keep going, but when doubt leads to discouragement is what causes you to quit. And that is why we are here. We are here to help you overcome discouragement. Because, as I said, that was me. I have been there so many times before, down at the bottom of the pit, tried to crawl out, fall back in, get out, back in. And then one day, I remember it clearly, I was driving to work, and I was praying, and I heard God speaking to me, not audibly, obviously, but as clear as if he was sitting in the back seat. I was thinking about the day's trading ahead, and I was dreading it. I really was. This was back when I was a day trader. And I remember hearing him say, "Aren't you tired of feeling this way?" And I'm like, yes, I am so tired. And, I talk about hitting rock bottom. I hit rock bottom, and it has been up ever since then. And I'm going to show you the keys to overcoming that discouragement, that thing that makes you want to quit. Because let's face it, if you quit, you're never going to be successful. That does seem obvious, but it is true. Whenever you have a setback, or whenever you feel discouraged, you've got two options. You can keep going, or you can quit. You say, "Well, I'm not a successful trader." Well, you're never going to be a successful trader if you quit. So you've got to keep going. But discouragement hits every one of us every single day, and we are here to help you overcome that discouragement. So let's dive right into it. Because overcoming discouragement is the key to becoming a long-term successful trader. So let's start, number one, with finding out why we get so discouraged. I want you actually to put down in the comments what you think is the number one cause of traders' discouragement. Everyone's going to say, "I'm not making any money," or "I'm not being successful." But what is it that is telling you, inside or outside, that you're not successful? What is it that's causing you to be miserable? For me, one of the largest culprits out there is social media. And now I recognize that this is social media. But, and don't get me wrong, social media is fantastic when it comes to trading specifically. If you don't know anything, or if you're looking for a strategy, there's a mountain of information out there. It has never been a better time to be a trader than now, to be a beginning trader than now, because you can find everything you could ever need to know to be a successful trader available free online, just like this. However, number one, you can get lost in a sea of options, but also I think social media puts out unrealistic expectations. You go into YouTube and type in this channel first, but type in trading success or trading strategy or trading profits. And the first few videos they're going to show are ones of a guy in a flashy car that says, I turned $10 into $1 million in 3 days. That's a bit of an over-exaggeration, but not far off. Social media has created these unrealistic expectations, and it keeps hammering them at you, the struggling trader, the trader who wants to be successful, the trader who's out there grinding every day, and they keep hammering you with the message that if you haven't done this in this short period of time, then you're not successful and you should just give up and quit. Or, hey, did you do this thing yesterday? I did this thing yesterday. Look at me. I've made all this money. If you didn't make all this money, why don't you follow me and make all this money? So I think social media bears a chunk of the blame when it comes to setting up unrealistic expectations. And when those expectations can't be met, people get discouraged. So key number one is open your eyes to social media. Open your eyes to the places where social media, I don't want to say is lying to you. No one's lying to you. Well, I don't want to say that either. But open your eyes to the places where social media is trying to sell you an unrealistic dream. I know what you're thinking right now. All right, Mr. Social Media guy, Mr. Discouragement guru, how's this going to work? Well, here's what we're going to do. We're committed to every week, we're going to put out a video on what you think of as the number one causes of that pit of discouragement. Whatever it is you put down in the comments, I'm going to make a video on that every single week. And we're going to cover all of the different ways in which, or all the different pitfalls that we could fall into that are going to lead to that discouragement that we talked about. And we're going to start today. So here we go. Pitfall number one. Let me ask you this scenario. You've traded all day long and you've made some profits, or you've traded all week long and you've made some profits. Have you ever had a situation where you've had a good run, but you gave it all back on that one last trade, and you said to yourself, if only I had not taken that last trade? If that's you, if you have ever done that before, or maybe more than once, not only are you not alone in this, you're in pretty good company. Today, let's look at the verse from Romans chapter 7. And yes, I'm going to be using biblical principles all throughout this channel. That is one of the things I think differentiates this channel from all the rest, is that I'm going to be using biblical foundational principles for everything that I do. They're true for a reason. You might not believe the Bible, you might not believe in God, but I would just ask you to just try them. I mean, if you're facing, I'm going to give up, then what do you have to lose? So today, let's turn to Romans chapter 7, and picking up in verse 15. This is Paul speaking here. He says, "For I do not understand what I am doing, for I am not practicing what I want to do, but I do the very thing that I hate." That's Romans 7:15. I love that first statement. He's like, what am I doing? I keep doing this thing that I don't want to do, and the thing that I want to do, I can't seem to make myself do that. I mean, how many times have you said that? I know that personally, everyone knows that trading discipline is what you're supposed to do. So I would get up in the morning and I would have a checklist. I'm going to be disciplined. I'm going to do this. Day in and day out. Do you remember the Charlie Brown comic strip? If you're younger, you probably only remember Charlie Brown as a cartoon. But in it, Charlie Brown has this recurring situation where he tries to kick a football. Lucy's down there, hold the football, 3-point stance, ready to kick it for a field goal. And he comes running, and of course, you know what happens. He comes running up to it. Right before he gets there, she pulls the ball out of the way. Now, we're not going to dive into what's wrong with Lucy, that she seems to get way too much enjoyment out of this. But every single time, Charlie Brown makes the same mistake over and over again. He says, today I'm going to kick that football, and it was me. Today I'm going to kick that football of discipline over and over and over again, and I would fall flat on my back day after day after day. And I just like, even if I was totally focused, today is the day I'm going to be disciplined. I would just hammer it home, discipline. And at the end of the day, I'm flat on my back staring up at the sky, and Inigo Montoya comes over and says, you keep using that word, I don't think it means what you think it means. And you get to the point where you just want to give up. So how can we break that cycle? Well, one of the things Paul talks about, and I actually put this in the new book, the upcoming book that I've got out here, Discovering the Joy of Trading, is discipline is one of the trading version of what in the Bible we talk about is self-control. Look, we all know that discipline is the key. Let's jump back into what Paul, before going any further, let's just continue on with Paul. So in verse 19 of that same chapter, Paul says, for the good that I will to do, the thing he wants to do, I don't do. But the evil that I will not to do, that I practice. Again, the thing I want to do, I'm not doing. The thing I don't want to do, that's what I'm doing. He just keeps going on and on about this. He's actually trying to encourage us, not discourage us. But jumping forward into verse 24 here, he says, he comes to the end of this, he goes, oh, wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? That's verse 24. And you think, well, dude, if the Apostle Paul, if St. Paul can't handle this, if he doesn't have discipline or self-control, what hope do I have? First of all, don't take his brutal honesty as discouragement. Remember, he didn't set out to write the Bible. He's writing a letter to his friends back in Rome. He's founded a church and then had to head back home again. And he's just writing them a letter. And he's saying, hey guys, look, we're all in this together. You're struggling with this. I'm struggling with this. But in the realm of self-control, you think, well, somebody like Paul can't handle it. Here's where the English language, I think, does us a little bit of a disservice. And again, I go over this in the book when it comes to the chapter on love. But when we think self-control, I think a lot of times we focus a little too much on the self portion of it. Let me ask you this question. If you were to wander into your favorite bookstore and you said, I want to get a book on how to have more self-control, what section do you think you would go to? You're not going to the cooking section or the biography section. You're going to go to the self-help section. Now, this is where I think the English language does us a disservice, because we think of self-help and think, I can do this myself. The main problem with the idea of self-help when applied to self-control is that focus on self. If you are the problem, then you are not the answer to your own problems. Think about this. You look at how successful the Alcoholics Anonymous program and all of the other addiction programs that have spawned from it, using that same 12-step program. None of those people would ever dare try to go this alone, right? They would not think, well, I'm just going to have more self-control over myself. And therein lies the problem. The words that Paul uses in that verse talk about having mastery over something. But it can't be you that has that mastery. If you're a Christian, you are giving that to God. But if you're a non-Christian, this is where those two areas overlap, I think. The key point number 2 is that you cannot do this alone. If you have been struggling on your own, making the same mistakes over and over again, then key point number 2 is stop struggling on your own. Every trader needs to have what I call the group of 3. You need to have 3 people in your life that you are leaning on and are leaning on you in order to be able to have this long-term success. Now, what do I mean by having 3 people? Number 1, you need someone who's your mentor. And that's pretty easy. That's self-explanatory. Most people say, don't go find you a trading mentor. You need to find someone where you can learn from them in a one-on-one setting. A coach. We offer coaching services. There are plenty of great coaching services out there. Reach out to us if you would like to. Number 2, you need to find someone who is basically in the same place that you are. Your coach is down the road from you. They are where you want to be, and they were where you are now, if that made sense. You need to find someone else who is where you are now, and the two of you can walk this journey together. They're your accountability partner. They're the ones that you can cry on their shoulder. They can cry on your shoulder. You help each other out. When you say, Dadgummit, I did this thing again, your partner can say, yep, did it yesterday. We're in the same boat. And number 3, and this might seem counterintuitive to you, especially if you don't consider yourself a successful trader, you need to have somebody that's behind you, someone that you can guide. And you think, well, why would anyone want to learn from me? There's always someone who knows less than you do. Even if this is your first day of researching trading, there are people out there who haven't done it yet, right? So there's always someone out there who knows less than you do, and you need to be able to help them, because here's what they're going to do. They're going to ask you questions that you didn't know. And then you turn around and you ask your guide, your mentor, hey, I got this question from my dude, and I don't know the answer to that. Can you help me out with that? So you're going to grow more as a trader. You're going to grow more in your self-control, in your discipline, by talking to somebody who knows less than you do, probably than you will with the person who knows more than you, because they're going to give you things you're going to think, I'm never going to be able to be like that. But after a period of time mentoring someone else, you're going to realize, hey, wait a minute, I might just be like that. So that is the key takeaway from this week. I want you to, number 1, view social media through the appropriate lens of realism. And number 2, I want you to gather around you, obviously a support system, people in your friends and family who know what you're doing, are there to give you emotional support. But you need trading support. You need discipline support more than that. So yes, have those people that are supporting you in life, but then have those 3 traders, and they need to be traders, who are there to meet different needs in your life. And they can also be the ones to head off, especially your guide. I mean, if you and your accountability partner, your fellow traveler, are both enamored with this thing you saw on YouTube, your guide's the one that says, hey guys, there was a guy doing that same thing 3 years ago and he's in federal prison now, so maybe let's not do that. So this is what I want you to do. Now, your accountability partner, your fellow traveler, the person who's where you are, for a time at least, that could be conceivably a group. If you're in a trading group or an accountability group, you could have a group, but eventually you do need to have a one-person partner that is with you, that the two of you can bounce ideas off one another. But I would encourage everybody to go out there and start looking for those three people, right? Probably going to be the hardest one to find is your mentor, because you may have to pay for it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now you can say, well, hey, you sell coaching services. You would say that. Yes, there's nothing wrong with anybody making money either, but you wouldn't get your car fixed by somebody that you've never met, who wants to do it for free. You'd probably be more comfortable going to the mechanic or the dealership. Nothing wrong with paying for advice that you know. When you do that, it conveys a level of assurance along with it. So, job for this week: go out and find one of those three. You don't have to find all three of them, but go to groups, go to boards, and try to find. If you can't come up with anything, contact me, and I can help you find some of these places. We've got people that all need help in every stage of that process. I just flubbered all that. Editor, please cut that out, because I said flubbered too. Editor, please cut that out. So, anyhow, guys, every week we're going to be here. We're going to be helping you overcome different areas that attack you and lead to that pit of discouragement. And that is why I'm here. I am dedicated to helping traders overcome discouragement, because we know where it is. We know that you fall in that pit and you stay there and you give up. And I don't want anybody out there giving up. Trading is freedom. Trading has an amazing capacity to set people free from the shackles that hold them back in life. So I don't want to see anybody give up. So please, if you're struggling, if you need help, reach out to me. Leave me a comment down below, DM me, whatever it takes, and we will get you some help. But guys, I appreciate you being here. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.